Hi everyone, I'm here to help you try and find a effective writing resource for lower primary for your next assessment. I just wanted to give you an example of how you can do this and some tips along the way, and hopefully that will really help you guys. My focus is going to be on writing informational text at lower primary, so probably foundation to grade 2. So I found a really good resource from a blog site, and looking at informational text, and then looking at, I hope you can see that. I've got the link there as well. But just looking at using transitional words to create a really simple information text. So students will be asked to decide on a topic of their choice. So you would talk to them about their being experts in their field. So what is something that they could be really interested in? It might be, I know how to swim, so I'm going to tell someone how to swim, or I know how to make a cupcake. So you're drawing on their own personal experiences, as well as having a little focus for them with their information writing. It's really important that when you are teaching lower primary students to write a particular text type, that you spend time with them in breaking it down, so that you understand that there is, in an informational text, first you do this, next you do this, then you do this, lastly this is what happens. So basically they're telling someone how to do something. How do you swim? How do you drive a car, for example? Some kids might have a little trouble with this, and so you need to be able to show that you can cater for varying levels of need. For example, so with this that I have just shown you, I would start off by just getting them to draw what happens. So they can get their ideas down, so that if you come back to it at a later time, they can just look at the pictures. Visuals are really good for kids at this age. So they can look at the pictures and be able to say, yep, this is what I'm doing. From this point on, you would then go and create with them a very simple sentence, okay, based on the pictures. So, First I put on my bathers, next I jump in the water, then and so on and so forth. Now, to meet your varying needs here as well, what you could do is that for your students who are really struggling with writing and struggling with forming sentences, you would work probably one-on-one with them at creating some really simple sentences. Then for those students who are really competent writers, you would probably work on giving their sentences lots of description, and maybe having more than one sentence, doing it that way. The links at this lesson, it's really important that in your assessment that you have links to ACARA outcomes. So the ACARA outcomes that I am teaching towards in this lesson is 1430. Understand that text may take many forms, can be very short or long, and that stories and informative texts have different purposes. 1786, explore the different contribution of words and images to meaning in stories and informative texts. 1435, recognise that sentences are key units for expressing ideas. 1434, recognise that texts are made up of words and groups of words that make meaning. 1654, construct texts using software using word processing programs. Because I am going to link with this lesson a ICT component. The ICT component that I'm going to link into is at the end of this lesson. They can actually type up this into a Scribble app. So Scribble Press app allows students to type their information text into a digital story. So if I give you an example, What? So, you know, a student here has scribbled has made a picture of themselves, and then they've just written underneath, "Hello, the book is all about me. I am a girl." So this caters for different learning needs as well. So students can have varying levels of success, and it's really important that no matter what stage your students are at, that they can have success in the classroom and they can have success in their learning, because even though a child might not be meeting their particular outcomes, they still need to see success in their learning. Pros and cons, something that I would use to help me look at a lesson and the pros and cons of look at a lesson and look at a resource and the pros and cons of this resource. Something that I use are graphic organisers. I find them really easy to get my head around. For example, this is a simple T-chart with strengths and weaknesses. So the strengths of this resource is it's adaptable to meeting varying students' needs, especially with getting kids to draw their ideas out. It allows success for each student, no matter their level of understanding. So, for example, if you have a student who can only do, a few letters to create a word, well, they can draw it out and then write a few letters, and that can create meaning in writing. You might have some students who write simple sentences and some students who can write more complex sentences. That allows for that differentiation of your students in your class. It also has an ICT component, which allows for students to not only write, but they could also read the story. So, and you can make connections as well to, maybe blog sites. So lots of classrooms these days have their own blogs or their own websites. And so you can send that story to a grandparent or to a parent and make connections to the wider community. Another strength is connections can be made to a child's personal experience. So if they are an expert in, you're talking about, them being an expert, they can be an expert in how to, I'm trying to think how to drive a car. No, how to, make cupcakes, because they've made cupcakes with their mum all the time. So it really gives them a sense of ownership and a sense that, I know what I'm talking about here. And that's really important for children, to take ownership of their own learning and to see that, they can teach other people new things. Weaknesses of this resource. So I've just, very simply, strengths and weaknesses lined down the middle. It's called a T-chart. Use it to help you with your assessment 3. So weaknesses, I guess the teacher has to cater for different stages of text development. So some students might be just at that scribbling stage. Some students might be able to write really complex sentences. Other students might just simply be able to just write a sentence for each. And so you've just got to really, I guess, be aware of your time and be aware of your organisational skills in order to cater for these different things. I guess, like I was just saying, time management, the teacher might have to work more one-on-one with those lower ability students than on the students who are a bit more confident. To combat this, I would probably put children into, make it sort of more writing groups, and therefore I would be able to cater for students at different stages. So I would basically have a guided writing group, and I would probably teach a particular aspect of this resource in my guided writing stations. So students might be doing sort of 4 different writing experiences at a time, breaking them up into different groups. And so I can work with, a particular set of students with a particular set of needs, meeting and talking to them about how to write an informational text based on a topic of their choice, and allowing success for that. So then that gives me the ability to be able to say, okay, I know that you guys need to work on more complex sentences and making your sentences interesting and using more complex vocabulary, and looking at the next ACARA outcomes for those children. Whereas I might have a group of kids who are only just scribbling, and so by breaking them up, I'm able to really cater for those needs more effectively. So another weakness could be a child might not know a subject that they're an expert in, or they might not have the confidence or the ability to, communicate that. And so something that you could do here is just having some simple ideas in place. So having some subjects that they could already do, maybe some things that you've done in class, like how to make Play-Doh, or how to play a particular game. Something that you've done as a whole class that they can then lean on. Another weakness could be with the internet. If it's a poor, you might not have enough iPads, or you might not have enough computers, or the internet might be down, which means for that section of the resource, it is going to be really, really tricky to complete. And it actually might be zapping of your time. And so I guess, you've got to think of ways to combat that. All right, I hope that helps. I hope that gives you a few ideas. Please, use the resources out there. There's some amazing resources, and we really want to see you, show us and showcase these resources. I love being able to see things and going, oh, I'll use that in my own classroom. That would be great. That's what I want to see. I want to be able to look at your essay and go, I want to see that in my classroom. Good luck.